Hey crafty cuties, welcome back to Paper Terrace and welcome to another video on my prototype journal. This is just essentially a big journal of ideas, and if you want to see how I created this and a little bit more on the videos where I created junk journal page ideas in here, I'll have a playlist below. There's quite a bit now, so this is becoming a super fun series. And in today's video, this was a requested video on how to use full-size book pages or full-size images in your journals, without having to only, fold them in half and see half of the image. Not gonna lie, this one kind of stumps me. I've spent quite a long time trying to figure out good ideas, and I do have about 5 or 6 to show you guys today, but again, these are always going to be pretty basic ideas, and hopefully you can take these ideas and make them your own. So let's get started. For reference, my pages in my journal are about 6 inches by 8.5. That way, when I'm talking about measurements, you'll know what I am working against. And so we're gonna get started. I'm going to take this one right here, and we are using all different sizes of book pages and images for this. So the first one, let's say we have a book page like this, and again, we want this entire image to be visible in our journal. So of course you can always take a page and glue it down, but I'm always trying to make my book pages be, I guess, interactive or functional. And so I'm going to show you the first one, which you guys have probably seen me do many times, and we're just going to create a full-size pocket using this book page. So this is the same size of the pages in my journal, just so you know. And so I'm going to take an extra piece of scrap paper that's the same size as my pages, and then I have my book page. Now, if you do need to trim it down, that is the only thing, is these book pages need to be able to at least fit in your journal. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and actually just trim down a tiny bit of the bottom here. And we could always just create this into a pocket just like this, but of course I'm going to take it just one step further and kind of show you, ooh, wait, this page is fun too. No, we'll go with this one. So I'm also going to make these all no-sew ideas just to make it easy so everyone can do it. And I'm going to add glue right down all the way around. And I need to unclog my glue. But this is real life, right? Okay. Let's try that again now. So I'm going to add glue on the 3 sides like this. Pretty simple, obviously. And I'm going to glue this down on our little base page here. You could just glue this straight into a page that's on your journal too. So most of these ideas are, let's say you're wanting to add these book pages or images after you already created your journal, but also if you haven't created your journal, this is where you could take this and put it on a page that's going to be in your journal. Hopefully that makes sense. So like I said, you can keep it like this, but I always like to do a couple things, and these are pretty typical for me to always do, so I thought I would show them. One is to take a stencil. I just like to dress it up a little bit, and I'm just going to stencil a few places on the page just to make it a little bit more fun. And then the second thing I like to do is add some little fabric or lace snippets at the top, and I am actually just going to do that right here. I don't always show decorating ideas in these videos. Again, I like to keep them pretty basic, but for me, this is kind of like a basic thing because this is something that I always do when I create these kind of pockets. So I'm just taking a few different pieces of material You can obviously decorate this however you want, or you can keep it completely plain. For this one, you know, I'm not covering up any of the picture, so it's it works good for this one. And let's see, we'll just layer that on like that. And maybe a little piece of, I'm looking in my scraps right now. Some little paper scraps always make for a good snippet. And then I just put nails on yesterday and I'm forgetting how hard it is to craft with nails. They're pretty, but they're not very easy to work with. So I'm just gonna staple this on because again, I want these all to be no-sew ideas. But typically I do sew these kinds of pockets. It's just not necessary per se. Okay, we're gonna go like that. And I feel like I want a little label to finish that off. Let's see here. Too big. Okay, one of these will do. And let's see, I think I'll staple that on as well. And then we can go ahead and I'm just gonna glue this on. Just right at the top here where I have that little space. Okay, so there we go. We have our first full book page idea. And for this one, I would honestly just glue the entire thing into a page. I am going to show a video later where I'll show you all of these things in my journals, but for today, we're just going to be working on them. Okay, so the next one, we're going to take an Edith Holden book page. These are so gorgeous, and this is going to be similar as the last idea, but also a little bit different. So this one I'm going to cut down again. Let's say, you know, I want this to fit in my journal, so I'm going to trim it down a little bit, and I am just going to use my ruler, but I will be making sure to keep the image visible. The last idea that I'm going to show you, I am going to use a much bigger image, an image that's too big for the journal. So you will get to see an idea where we actually use a bigger image, but I'm just trying to be realistic and show you guys things that, you know, I would actually do in my journals. Okay. This little last piece does not want to go. All right. Even that up a little bit. And then we just need it a little shorter. And this is a really fun idea. So I recently did what I'm about to show you on an envelope folio, and I just loved how it turned out. So you may have seen me do this before. But basically what I'm going to do is create some stacked pockets. So we're going to keep the image fully visible. It's going to be kind of like a puzzle piece. And so I'm actually just going to, first of all, cut at an angle through the picture, but I promise it's going to look like the picture is intact. And then I'm going to do one more, and I'm going to do this one just straight across. But you can have a lot of fun with whatever ways you want to cut yours apart. Now I am going to add a little bit of ink on all of the tops of the pockets. So there we go. So you can kind of tell that it's a pocket, but, and then the top one. So what we're going to do is basically put this together like a puzzle. We're going to start at the bottom of our page. Again, I'm using a base page that I know will fit. And I'm just going to this, add my glue. Whoops, my phone is going off. Okay, and then we'll go like this. There, so we have our first pocket, but because we want our full image to show, we are going to go ahead and glue this one on. You have to be careful when you're gluing this here. Oh, this picture was pretty too. You have to be careful not to add too much glue so that it seeps down into the next pocket, because we obviously want that to be open. But so I'll just kind of go like this. Okay, so then we're going to line it up. And you can line it up just right next to where it needs to fit. Almost, yeah, like touching is totally fine. You'll still be able to have the pocket. And then for the last one, same thing. So remember, we're just gluing the two sides and then the bottom. Just spreading that glue out so that it doesn't glue the top of the pocket. And then again, just carefully lining everything up so that it really kind of has the illusion, whoops, that you have a full image. But now we have more of a functional page. And there are different ways too. This is ended up kind of crooked, but that's okay. And there are different ways that I will use a full page. How did I get that so crooked? But I love using clear adhesive pockets. You guys have probably seen me use those quite a bit, where you can take a clear adhesive pocket, and I'll show you one real quick. And let's see if we can get the backing off. Oh, come on, Jessica, we don't need to be editing. There we go. I'm actually just going to use, here, I'll use this page real quick just to demonstrate. So you take your clear adhesive pocket and you can place it right over your image. So you're still going to have, you know, access to viewing your whole beautiful image, but you can easily put some tags or anything in there, journaling, whatever it might be. Okay, but here, back to this one. Again, I don't know how I got that so crooked, but that's okay. I'm just going to go ahead and trim that off. So now it'll fit in my journal. And again, we have our full image, but we can actually use it in our journal. Okay, let's set that one aside and we'll go on to the next. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna make you guys wait no longer, and I'm gonna take this huge big image. So this is 12 inches by 12 inches, and remember my journal is about 6 inches by 8.5. So the one thing we will have to trim down is the height. We definitely need this to be the right height, and I think I will use this as my guide. So luckily I can get most of this image. And so I'm just gonna, again, take my ruler to trim down just the height, but we're gonna keep the full picture. I could use my trimmer. Yep, I'm gonna go ahead and use my trimmer that's right behind me. So let's go ahead and, it's too big to bring over, but I'm just trimming it down to about 8.5 inches for the height. And luckily that does not mess with our beautiful image here. And again, this is going to be a very simple idea, but essentially we have to fold it, but it's not going to be folded into a signature to where you can only see, you know, if it was folded into a signature, you just see this half. But my simple solution for this is to place this in the middle of a signature. So I feel like I'll have to just open this up and demonstrate. I'm not going to put it in my journal quite yet because I want to organize this. But let's say this is the middle of our signature, and I would just have it be a center page so that when you open it, it's all together just like that. And if I was going to be placing this into a journal that was already made, kind of like this, I would only glue on the top and the bottom so that you have this full image, but you can, you know, have a pocket on both sides. Okay, so I know that one is very, very simple. However, sometimes when people are newer to journaling, you might not really think of these things. So that's why I want to include things like that as well. Okay, so let's go on to the next. I do have a few more ideas. And for this one, we are going to take 2 full-size pictures. And I wanted to show you how I would actually put these into a signature if I didn't want to fold them. And so, you know, I want to include both of these. And so this is, okay, I'm going to first of all just measure and make sure that the width is okay on these. I believe it is. These are about 6.5. I can make that fit into my journal, so I don't have to trim down anything like that. And basically what we're going to do so that we don't have to fold these in half is I am going to take a piece of fabric and we are basically going to, we're going to make this into a longer page, I guess, if that makes sense. So I'm going to use glue, but a lot of times I would do this on my sewing machine, but glue will work. This doesn't have to be fabric. So you can also use washi tape. You can use paper. I just like using fabric. So you want to put these pretty close together with about 1/4 inch of a gap in between. And then you take your fabric like this. I'm gonna flip it over. This is obviously going to need a minute to dry. That. So I'd probably put another piece of fabric, but I'm going to show you also that you could use washi tape as well if it's a washi tape that is very sticky, but you can always add a little bit of glue as well. And I'm going to show you how to put in a full page image without needing to as well. So where did my scissors go? Here they are. I'm going to trim my washi down. I don't need it this wide. Probably just need it like 1/2 inch, just like the fabric. It doesn't have to be exactly the same height, but you want it to be pretty close to the same height. And this washi tape has like a backing, so we'll go ahead and remove it. I really didn't think about the fact that these nails, they're so cute if you can see them. They're from the Dollar Tree, but I forgot how hard they make crafting. And I may have to rip them off at some point. But let's try to get this off. There we go. And so I'm just going to place this down the center. So of course, you know, it may run into your image just a touch. You could keep your washi tape, fabric, or paper a little bit thinner. And there we are. So now, again, I'm going to need this to dry, but you can see now how we can actually just go ahead and place this into a signature, and we have the full pages. So if I had a bunch of book pages like this that I wanted to put into my journal, you know, without folding in half through the page, this is exactly what I would do. I would make a bunch of these up, and then you can create your signature just like this, and you'll have your full pages. So let's say we wanted to do that, but we just have a single page and we don't want to glue it completely down, and we also don't want it a pocket. Again, this is simple, but what I would do is take a piece of paper, or it could be fabric, or it could be washi, and we're going to basically tip this in. This is called a tip in. And I don't need this that wide at all. Actually, you know what? That might be kind of fun to have it that wide, because I could create a little tuck spot underneath. I'm always thinking of ways to add more and more and more. I'm going to clean up the edge just a little bit on my image here, my book page. And then I'm just going to glue this down, and we're just gluing on a little flap. This is the back of the page that I am adding. And then what you would do is add this in your journal. Just like this. I would add it in just like this, and it's still going to give that illusion that it's its own single page. You know, depending on how big you make your little flap here, you may be covering up a little bit of the next page, but you could trim this down and make it a lot less wide. My idea is that I'm going to glue this in on the top and the bottom, and then you'll have a tiny little tuck spot underneath as well. But that is just one simple way to add in a full page to a journal that is already created. So there we go, guys. Those are my ideas. Did I have any more ideas? I mean, some obvious ideas are you could also add in a full page and have a flip on top so that it flips up, and that's just kind of a fun interactive way as well. But yeah, I hope that this at least maybe sparked some ideas in you, gave you some ease about wanting to add full pages into your journals. And I can't wait to show you guys my finished prototype journal once I have everything in it. It is going to be full of so many ideas, and like I said, this series has been so much fun. So thank you guys for joining, and don't forget to make sure you're subscribed if you're not already, and I will see you guys very soon. Bye, guys.